What up, y'all? Corey here. On this episode, we're going to be talking about lead generation. Very specifically, there's a difference between if I needed leads today versus if I needed leads tomorrow versus if I needed leads forever. This is something that I just recently wrote on a recent newsletter, and I got a lot of feedback from people saying that it was super helpful. And so on this episode, I wanted to dive a little deeper on each one of those topics. Let's go. All right, welcome to the episode. So before we dive into those three things that I wanted to talk about, leads today, leads tomorrow versus leads forever, I wanted to tell you a quick story about how I learned the importance of lead generation the hard way. When I first started working as an occupational therapist at an outpatients clinic, I was responsible for getting my own patients. And this is when I realized that it is a lot harder than I thought it was. When I thought at the time was basically I took the shotgun approach of do all the things, and then eventually one of those would lead back to me having patients, which it definitely didn't. I was going in the local communities. I was reaching out to doctors for referrals. I was sending out emails. I was doing handwritten cards. I was meeting with local gym owners or local businesses that had overlying patients. I will say basically none of these really led to patients. I will say the one thing that did actually work though was I used to go to local community events for more elder care type clientele, and I would work with the elderly in terms of like helping them with some of their arthritis conditions, which some of those did lead to some patients, and that did lead to some referral marketing. I even had a marketing manager at the time that was helping me with some of this marketing stuff, but at the end of the day, let's just say none of it really worked. This is when I realized that marketing is more of a sniper approach than a shotgun approach. I don't love using the hunting analogy, but I think it gives people a good framework in terms of when you go into building a marketing strategy, it's way more effective to just have a very specific focus of exactly who it is you want to talk to, how you want to help them, and what solution you're helping them essentially solve. That's really a good framework. But I didn't learn that until now, what I do from a marketing standpoint, because this is my whole world now, which from that struggle and pain of not being able to get any patients as an occupational therapist to now helping other OTs, PTs, doctors, chiros, trainers doing this marketing stuff, I've learned a lot. And so some of those things we were going to get into now in terms of how to have lead generation. And so the very first one I want to talk about is what I would do if I needed leads today. At its most base level is I would help people. And a lot of this shows up in outreach, whether that's warm outreach or cold outreach. Either one's totally fine, but basically it's just reaching out to people that you know you could help with your product or your service. Where I learned this one was actually my very first client that I ever helped was a website design project for a health coach in my local area. I, of all places, found her on Google Maps. I was just looking at health coaches in my area. I was living at Minnesota at the time, and she happened to live down the street from me. I found her on Google business pages, and I went to her website, and I saw that there was a lot of things that I could help improve upon her website. So I reached out to her. This was totally cold. This wasn't even warm. And I was like, hey, I see that you're a health coach in the area. I help other people in the health, fitness, wellness space with their website design and development. I would love to help you with your website totally for free, honestly. This, at the time, it was just an opportunity to meet somebody that I knew that I could help in the local area. She was kind enough to actually connect with me. I was able to help her. I was able to improve her website and her design. And that one relationship actually led to dozens of other paying clients down the road. So although it didn't get me paid the very first day, it did get me leads the very first day from just reaching out to her. And this is something anybody can do in their business, is that you probably have a product or a service that you can help somebody with today by literally just reaching out to them and being like, hey, I can help you. I'm not saying that you need to help them for free. That was something that I did that eventually led to a lot of clients because I was very early in my business. But if you are somebody that's brand new to your business or your practice, this can be a really good way to just start getting referrals and start getting testimonials and reviews. On a quick side road on the review thing, I think people also vastly underestimate how valuable those are. If you think about your own psychology when you go to purchase something, I would be willing to bet a lot of money that you look at the reviews and how many ratings and stars that they all have. Think about all the restaurants you go to, all the purchases you make on Amazon, or even some of the local, maybe we'll say barber shops, is that I would be willing to bet money that you look online at the reviews, and based on what you see from the reviews, you make a very strong decision if you're going to buy or go there or do that thing or not based on the reviews. And so if you are early in your practice and you don't have a lot of reviews for your practice yet, I would highly recommend doing some things for free just in return to get some of those reviews and testimonials, because those are honestly oftentimes more valuable than anything somebody could pay for the product or services that you might be offering. Not that there's not value in the product or services that you're offering, but I think it's important to know that there's also a ton of value in getting reviews from people. And so oftentimes you can reach out to somebody and be like, hey, I'll help you for free in return for a review. But long story short, where I'm going with this one is if I needed leads today, I would do outreach, whether that's somebody you know or somebody you don't know. This could be in the DMs on your social media. This could be a newsletter following you already have. This could be people on your phone. There's a lot of ways to reach out to people, but that's what I would do if I needed leads right now, today. The second thing I wanted to talk about is leads tomorrow. And this one in a nutshell is essentially the importance of community. So when I first moved to Austin, Texas, I didn't know anybody. And I was looking for other health, fitness, wellness entrepreneurs or business owners in the area. And I had a little difficulties finding some of these people, which ultimately led to me creating the meetup community that I have now today that has over 1,000 members, and it's growing month over month of health, fitness, wellness entrepreneurs. And it's been a blast. It's been super fun to grow this community. And it's been a total passion project for me. And an added bonus of building this community is it's actually led to a ton of leads, things that I would not have otherwise had I not built this community. Now, I'm not saying that you have to build your own community, but I think the more important lesson here is to be involved in a community, whether that's something local in your area, whether it's like a BNI group or your own meetup community or a local community or meetup community in your area, or it could be digital as well. I would highly encourage you to start with local if at all possible, because you're going to have far closer and better relationships with those people in your local community, and they will be far more likely to refer leads to you because they know you. This could also be too of just like going to local businesses in your area. There's a lot of people that have local practices that'll just like connect with the people in their local area, and they'll go and they'll offer their services for free sometimes, or they'll go to teach on a specific topic. This is a great way to get involved with the community. And also too, just as a side asterisk on this topic as well, is find ways to have more intimate connections with these communities. Something that I've done with my meetup community is I'm now hosting private dinners for people that come to this, just as an opportunity to get them on a layer deeper, which I know will eventually lead to potentially further leads or other connections down the road. And so the moral of the story of the second one is if I needed leads tomorrow, obviously not today, I would consider getting involved in my own community, building a community, or finding something online that you can get connected with. And the third and final topic I wanted to talk about, which is my favorite by far, is if I needed leads forever, I would create digital content. If you think about how much content humans consume on a day in and day out basis every single day, I don't even need to pull up the numbers. You already know the majority of our day is spent rather watching YouTube, scrolling social media, reading a blog post, listening to a podcast show like this, watching something on Netflix. The amount of content that we're consuming on a daily basis is outrageous. And if you're not in that game in some way, shape, or form, you are definitely missing out on the long-term opportunities of what content creation can do for you. I admittedly create a lot of content, and I admittedly, talking to myself here, spread myself way too thin. Sometimes I blog, I have a consistent podcast show, I try to create on social media every single day, I have a weekly newsletter. All these things I do because I enjoy them, not because they are burden to me, but I realize if I wanted any one of them to truly grow and create a system of unlimited leads, is I would focus all my attention on one of them and getting really good at them. And so that's my advice for you, is to get in the content game in some way, shape, or form, and just choose one. Advice that I often hear is choose one avatar, one channel, which could be a podcast or a YouTube or LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever it is, and one solution or problem that you're helping people solve. If you just focus your time and energy towards something like this, you're not going to get them leads today. You're not going to get leads tomorrow. You might not even get leads months, possibly even years down the road, but I promise you, by growing and building your own audience on a content platform on a very specific topic will eventually lead to leads literally forever. One of my favorite examples of this is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He has one of the largest followings on Instagram. I can't remember how many millions and millions of people he has on Instagram, but at the end of the day, he sells things that are completely unrelated to things that you would think about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, from like an energy drink line to a tequila to certain brand apparel, from some of his like brand deals that he's done with Under Armour. And this is all built on the back of the fact that he's created content. Obviously, he's like a superstar and a celebrity and in all these famous movies, which is how a lot of people have found him. But realistically, it's no different than anybody creating content. It's like he has just put himself out into the ether of the media for long enough that he has a large enough following that he has leads forever and endless, and he can sell them anything. And so the moral of the story from this one is that I highly recommend having some form of content creation in the digital realm where you are consistently putting stuff out there and growing your own audience, because that will, at the end of the day, honestly, lead to leads forever. I said that word twice. That's kind of silly, but I think you get the point. And so just as a real quick recap, if I needed leads today, I would do outreach. If I needed leads tomorrow, I would join a community or build my own community. And if I wanted leads forever, I would create some sort of content on the internet and build my own audience that would eventually someday, maybe even years, who knows, but I promise you'll be worth it. Leads forever. I hope this is helpful. Please send me a message or a DM if there's anything else you want to hear or there any deeper topics that we wanted to dive into. I always love engaging with my audience. Love you guys. Peace. Hey friend, thanks for listening to the show, and if you have any feedback for me about the show or any other guests that you'd want to see in the show, definitely shoot me a message. I love engaging with my audience and figuring out how I can provide the best value possible to the people listening to this show. Before you go, I only have one ask of you, and that would be to check out my 3 Tips Tuesday newsletter. It's 3 marketing tips every Tuesday specifically for the health and fitness entrepreneur to help them attract new leads. If you press the link in the description, it'll take you directly to the archive of all my previous newsletters, and you can decide for yourself if it's something for you. If you end up finding it helpful, you can just sign up for the newsletter and you'll get it in your inbox every Tuesday. Thanks again, and keep hustling, my friends.